Raphael Tuju, a man that has currently come out from his hiding and has decided to take his fight to the door of the Supreme Court of Kenya. But why now? That is the question that a lot of Kenyans are asking. As of today morning, a letter from the former cabinet secretary and the Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju was leaked to the public. A letter where Raphael Tuju addressed Chief Justice Martha Koome and the 7 judges of the Supreme Court of Kenya. Why is Raphael Tuju, at the moment that he has been rumored to be one of the incoming cabinet secretaries that will be working with Honorable Raila Odinga, has decided to fight the judiciary? And this time round, it seems that Raphael Tuju has a lot of forces rallying behind him. And these forces are determined to help Raphael Tuju remove CJ Martha Koome and all the Supreme Court judges who, in many cases, recently we have seen petitions filed by one Ahmed Nasri Abdullahi and former LSK President Nelson Harvey to remove Raphael Tuju, to remove CJ Martha Koome from our docket as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. Now, let's get down to the story and the letter that Raphael Tuju addressed to CJ Martha Koome and the Judiciary of the Republic of Kenya today. And in this letter, I am also going to tell you why Raila Odinga and William Ruto are behind the current fight that Raphael Tuju has decided to take to the Supreme Court. Now, Raphael Tuju's explosive letter has fueled discontent within Kenyan Supreme Court. Former Cabinet Secretary Raphael Tuju has ignited a firestorm of debate with an open letter to Chief Justice Martha Koome, accusing the Supreme Court of Kenya judges of corruption, public drunkenness, and recklessness. Ruling that he wants could, rulings that he wants could destabilize the nation. Dated March 21st, 2025, and received by the Office of the Chief Justice on the same day, Tuju's letter hands fuel to a mounting wave of public and legal dissatisfaction with the judiciary, as evidenced by ongoing petitions from prominent lawyers Nelson Harvey and Ahmed Nasri Abdullahi seeking the removal of the court's 7 justices. Now, in the 5-page missive, Tuju blasted the Supreme Court of Kenya for its handling of multiple issues, including a personal legal battle over his 27-acre property in Karen, Nairobi, which he claims has been targeted by vultures within the judiciary and the East African Development Bank, EADB. He accuses 5 judges of the Supreme Court of issuing an immoral ruling allowing his property to be auctioned with compensation offered only if he wins future appeal. Now, a precedent, he compares the executing someone and reviving them later. The law cannot be foundation of morality. It is the other way around. Tuju writes urging Kenyans to be protected from such judicial overreach. Now, Tuju's critique extends beyond his case, taking aim at the Supreme Court of Kenya's dismissive language in dismissing the 2022 presidential petition, where terms like OTA and wild goose chase were used. He argues these inflamed tensions in an already divided nation, drawing a parallel to the 1857 U.S. Supreme Court ruling in Dred Scott versus Sanford, which he says precipitated the American Civil War. Kenyan has burnt before and it can burn again. He warns, pointing to the country's fragility, with neighbors like Somalia and Southern Sudan as cautionary tales. Now, the letter also alleged that 4 of the 7 Supreme Court judges exhibit public drunkenness, offering to provide social media videos as evidence, and accuses them of undermining the Judicial Service Commission (JSC) by attempting to halt its proceedings against them. Tuju calls on Chief Justice Koome to establish a tribunal to investigate senior counsel Fred Ojiambo and Githu Muigai for alleged misconduct, including falsified affidavits and conflicts of interest tied to the EADB. Now, this explosive letter comes amid broad unrest within the Supreme Court of Kenya. Lawyers Nelson Avi and Hamed Nasri Abdullahi have filed separate petitions with the JSC to oust all 7 justices: Chief Justice Koome, Philomena Mwelu, Muhammad Ibrahim, Smokin Wanjala, Joaquin Dongo, Isaac Lenaol, and William Oko of allegations of incompetence, misconduct, and corruption. Avi, a former Law Society of Kenya (LSK) president, has claimed the judges accepted bribes, including an alleged offer involving Tuju's current property, as posted on X on March 13, 2025. Abdullahi barred from appearing before the SCOK, the Supreme Court of Kenya, since January 2024 due to his vocal criticism, has rallied 13 lawyers from his firm to demand the bench's removal. Now, the judiciary's woes have deepened. Public mistrust. Avi's petition, filed on January 13, 2025, accuses the Supreme Court of Kenya of barring him and Abdullahi without due process. While Abdullahi's campaign stems from the court's indefinite ban on his firm, upheld as recently as January 21st, 2025, former Chief Justice David Maraga has dismissed these ouster bids as dishonest and politically motivated, but the High Court extension of orders on March 5, 2025, blocking JSC hearings has only heightened tensions. Tuju's letter underscores Kenya's precautions state, noting its ranking as the 35th most fragile country globally and the insecurity plaguing regions like Baringo and Lamu. The Supreme Court of Kenya must not be so reckless as to add fuel to the fire that can engulf our country. He pleads, urging Koome to act decisively. As the JSC prepares to address these petitions with responses from from the judges with still pending, Tuju's accusations, paired with Harvey Abdullahi's unrelenting legal challenges, signal a judiciary under siege. Whether this mounting pressure will force reform or further fracture public confidence remains to be seen. For now, Kenya's apex court stands at a crossroad, its credibility hanging in the balance. Now, the case of Raphael Tuju and his property being auctioned happened last year. During the month of November and December, that is when this case became known to the public, where his property in Karen was auctioned. Now the question is, Tuju has spoken right now. The first time that Tuju was seen in public for a very long time was during the iftar dinner that was held by Honorable Raila Odinga in Upper Hill, where he brought together all the Muslim leaders to share the iftar dinner together and also share political ambitions. Now, Tuju has been rumored as a possible candidate for the Nairobi gubernatorial seat come the year 2027. Now, the former Rarienda Member of Parliament has been quiet since the ouster of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and the failure to secure office of Raila Odinga. He has not involved himself with any of President William Ruto's government projects or even criticizing President William Ruto. But now, at this moment, where Raila Odinga and President William Ruto are brothers that are cohabiting to move forward towards the broad-based government, the question is, who is behind Tuju? We all know that lawyer Hamed Nasri Abdullahi and Nelson Harvey, their petitions to have the 7 judges of the Supreme Court of Kenya removed has faced a lot of defense from the Chief Justice and the other judges and even the lawyers in the country. Why now that Nelson Havi and Ahmed Nasri Abdullahi seems to be unable to implement the removal of these judges and even the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, that it seems, it is clear that they have failed in a way. But the question is, why is Raphael Tuju being brought in at this critical moment? Let me tell you one thing. In the clause and in the MOU that Raila Amolo Odinga signed with President William Ruto, he put in a disclaimer that in the year 2027, President William Ruto must pick a running mate from the ODM party. And he put in 3 names. The name of one, Gladys Wanga, the governor of Homabay, Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi of Energy, and Cabinet Secretary of Mining, Ali Hassan Joho. So, in a way, Raila Amolo Odinga is conjoined with William Ruto in the year 2027, if William Ruto decides to pick an ODM candidate. Now, they know if the Supreme Court of Kenya, knowing what has been going on between the executive and the judiciary, if the judiciary continues to fight the executive and they continue having the current struggles that are unfolding between the two institutions, the two arms of government, then in the year 2027, if Ruto is to lose the elections, or if Ruto is to win and the opposition files a case at the Supreme Court of Kenya, and the 7 judges of the Supreme Court that are currently there, together with the Chief Justice, are still in office, then they see that there is no way William Ruto will have an upper hand in the judiciary. So, for Raila Amolo Odinga to influence the removal of Chief Justice Martha Koome and the judiciary at large, he has sent in his missile, and his missile is Raphael Tuju. Raphael Tuju claims that he has faced injustices due to the case that he has, and he has addressed the whole Supreme Court at large. If Tuju was to address the people that are expected to be removed, the people that served him injustice, he would have addressed the judges that ruled in his case. But why did he lose? Tuju took a loan of worth billions of money, but he failed to repay that loan in time. And that is why it was ruled that his property must be auctioned. Now, he came in, talked with Raila Amolo Odinga, got to speak with lawyers, and even if you have read this letter by Raphael Tuju against the judiciary and against the Supreme Court of Kenya, you will realize that this letter is not drafted by Tuju alone. These are legal professional minds that have come together to write this letter on behalf of Raphael Tuju. And I dare say that all these legal minds are all from Raila Amolo Odinga's team. They have been collected together to at least move in a petition in support of the 2 petitions filed by Ahmed Nasri Abdullahi and one Nelson Havi, to remove Chief Justice Martha Koome and the 7 judges of the Supreme Court, so that Raila Amolo Odinga and William Ruto can put in a Chief Justice and judges of the Supreme Court that they trust can rule in their favor even if they lose in the year 2027 general election. Are we together? If you look at this letter boldly and with an open mind, without you, siding with anybody, you will realize that there is an outside motive on why Raphael Tuju comes out at this crucial time. I tell you, Raila Amolo Odinga's footprints are all over this move by Raphael Tuju seeking to have the Supreme Court judges removed and even to have Chief Justice Martha Koome ousted. Tuju is going to become a cabinet secretary under the new MOU between Raila Amolo Odinga and William Ruto. But they have to prepare to have everybody in their favor. The High Court of Kenya and the Court of Appeal seems to be against William Ruto. And that is why they ruled in regards to the majority and minority in parliament. The Court of Appeal declined an appeal that was made by Speaker Moses Wetangula yesterday, and all that. If you look clearly, there is a struggle between the executive and the judiciary. And the judiciary is supposed to succumb to the pressure and have Martha Koome step out and all the 7 judges, so puppets can be put there. What do you think in regards to this analysis? And what do you think is the motive behind Raphael Tuju's letter to the judiciary? Leave a comment on the comment section. See you in the next video. Subscribe.